Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the very first edition of the Connected Packaging Summit. I'm very excited to have you all here with me today and tomorrow to learn and share stories and insights of the power of connected experiences. I am Jenny Stanley, founder and managing director of Appetite Creative, pioneers in the connected packaging industry. And this is the first session of this unique and exclusive event for packaging professionals and enthusiasts. With the connected packaging market globally to be worth around $32 billion by 2027, we knew that people needed to know more about this fantastic marketing opportunity. Connected packaging, for those who don't know, is the gateway to two-way communication with your consumers and the ability to understand your consumers better. Connected packaging is a QR code or an NFC tag or a Digimark, which is activated against the packaging, and once activated, takes a consumer through a quiz, a game, or any other variety of experiences open to them. We have some fantastic speakers today over this morning's session and tomorrow, but before we get lost on our journey, we need to start at the beginning and understand how to begin. And I'm very glad to welcome to the virtual stage Wiebke Apitzsch, Managing Director at TT Strategy. And to open the event, as we discuss the strategy behind and how to get started. We'll be looking at lots of different ways to understand the data, to be able to understand the way to actually get started. So first of all, I welcome to the virtual stage, Wiebke.
Hi, thank you, Jenny, for that kind introduction. And really great to be here, having so many amazing people in the audience as well. I'm very much looking forward to sharing my experience with you.
Fantastic. To get started and to let the audience just know a little bit about you, we want to know a fact or something interesting that maybe not so many people know about you. Is there something that you could share before you kick off with the slides?
There's 100 of things that people don't know about me. So I wonder where to start. But maybe, I have been very passionate about search dog training. So I'm not only a professional dog trainer, but I also do a pet search if your dog or cat gets lost. So right now I'm not training so much, but that is really something I really love to do.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Now we know a little bit more about you. I hand to you. Tell us about the strategy behind.
Absolutely. Let's get going. So, maybe to start a little bit, does it work? Yeah. Maybe to start from where my knowledge comes from. Yeah, I work for TTE. That is a boutique consultancy based in Hamburg, and we do focus on the packaging industry, and we also focus on digitalization. And what we do is, where we start with a strategy, and that's what I will be talking about in the next minutes. But what we also do is to really draft the project and then execute it. So from that, I gathered a lot of experience on how that initial strategy will end up in the project that you will actually execute, and it becomes operations maybe in your company. And this is what I will be talking about. So if we say we start with strategy, we obviously need to start with thinking, where does the company, the industry, everything actually go to? Yeah. And we've been discussing this in our team quickly and also cross-checked with research. And what we thought are the four big things in packaging going forward is absolutely digitalization. And you have prepared a lot of super exciting talks about this, Jenny, in the next day. So I checked it and said, yeah, absolutely, we can see that. And I think connected packaging is one of the big trends in here for sure. Then innovative products. So I'm super excited, for example, that we now can buy chocolates that are wrapped in paper, and that makes me feel less guilty about eating even more of that. It's not the bad waste, it's okay waste. So, great innovation in packaging in that area. And sustainability, of course, in both directions. One, because at least in Europe, legislation is getting tougher and tougher, and you need to follow more rules and regulations. And on the other hand, of course, because it's on everyone's heart to save this planet. So for packaging, definitely. And I also saw that there's a lot of nice events planned, especially tomorrow on sustainability here. So really looking forward to hear that. And then, of course, the market situations. Not only, but also due to COVID. and who knows how this will roll back or not roll back once the pandemic is ending or never ending. So there's a lot of insecurity in there. But as this is more my topic, so all four I think are big ones. But the topic that I'm focusing on most is digitalization. So we would go a bit deeper in there. But looking at this slide, yeah, it feels like there's a lot of a bit dry content, let's say, and it feels like, or at least for me, it feels like the heart is missing. Yeah, and so if you go there, that's actually true. We at TTE strongly believe in the importance of having the people in the center. No matter what you do, if it is learning about people or bringing people to do something or executing a project, everything you want to do will depend on a team that wants to win and that is engaged and that is believing also in your mission. Yeah, so that's why we think there's 4 trends, but there's one core: people, and if you have the right people in your team and engaged, then it will work. So that's the high level strategy. To move ahead, yeah, we agreed on sharing a few insights, especially about data projects. Yeah, so if it is no matter where it is in your packaging company, you can go consumer, customer, your suppliers, your plants. That's what I'm. I mean, I like the dirt and the sound of the big machinery, some packaging plants, and also that it's so fast. Yeah, I really like it. So, but no matter what it is, it can also be the sales function. There's 5 key learnings from my almost 10 years experience in that company, in that industry, that are worth considering. And those 5 areas is the strategic fit, the IT as a core part of the team, the impact of people, the fixed scope, and data quality. Yeah, these are my top top 5. There's sure more, but if you will set up a digital project and look at these 5, you will be pretty much okay. Yeah. So what do I mean with that? The strategic fit means we looked at it before, the big map of 4 big topics. Maybe for each company there might be a different focus, but top management knows where it goes, yeah, more or less. And if I now start a data project and say it is connected packaging, yeah, I need to be very precise on telling my team, how does it fit into our strategy? Why do we need it? Why is this important? Because only if the team understands that, okay, this is important for us because we need to get the connect to consumers, we need to understand what they think about our product, and we need to, get in touch. Only then they know how important it is. That gives them purpose, and it gives them the opportunity to steer the project on their own without too much top-level interaction. Yeah, they will be able to understand and just tell, yeah, we saw that trend changing, so we already pivoted. Yeah, it makes you very so much easier. So strategic fit is one. IT as a core part. Yeah, it sometimes happens that we don't have enough time and we quickly think it through and do a prototype and then let's go. Yeah, but this and the thing is that business really knows what we need. Yeah, so we know what information we need, who wants to use it, and IT knows how to do that. So if I move very far ahead and I'm almost done and choose my product and maybe by chance a database and whatever, and then loop in IT, we have a big mismatch and maybe we cannot implement it. We go all back, we roll back, and then we are 3 months delayed. Yeah, or everyone is then talking bad at IT and they really they didn't do anything wrong. It's just that they are on that stack and the other one is there, so it's not possible. Yeah, the impact of people, let me emphasize that one more, like why is that so important? If you look at data projects, people often step a little back because they say, oh, that's a database, that's so much numbers, and I'm not sure if I can handle that, and I need to learn so much. And so, but what it actually is a change management project. Yeah, there are so many great architects in the world. We already looped in IT. The technical stuff can be handled. Yeah, it's fine. No, don't make it a headache. But what you have to do is change the way people work, change the way people take decisions, change even maybe really small things in their everyday routine. Yeah. And I always like to think, as I said, I'm doing operations most of the time. Yeah, I always like to think of that excellent plant manager who has everything well in shape. Yeah, delivering more than he has to each year. Yeah, great product quality, no waste, everything running amazing. And now you go and say, hey, you have to use my digital product. Yeah. If he says no, there's no way you can force this person to change anything. Yeah, because his core job is done excellent. So what you have to do is to build up the trust. That's the job of business here. If he wants, there's no way this can fail. Yeah, it's turn it other way around. Yeah. Yeah. So the fixed scope, that's the like a threat topic, because and I think, I'm sure, Jenny, you had that in their project. Yeah, the moment you start to build something up, everyone has even greater ideas. Yeah, what else can we do? What other gamification can we add? Yeah, what other thing can we ask for? Yeah, it happens all the time. And the bad thing about it is that these ideas are really excellent very often. So you cannot say like, oh, no, that's stupid, we cannot do it. No, they are good, but they move your finish line from here to there, to there, to there. And you will have to keep your team motivated until you actually reach that finish line. I mean, that's the, let's have a beer, barbecue, champagne, whatever day that you're looking forward to. Yeah? So that's why I think it's so important to make sure that, okay, step one, this is the scope. We will take all the other amazing ideas, we put them on a long list, we will definitely look at them, but we will not move our goal by a centimeter, because you want to have the party at that day, and then you plan the next party and we add all the other scope and we will be successful and happy. Yeah? But not the other way around. Yeah, and the last one is data quality. I think, again, something, you know, we all know that, but it's so easy to jump over. But in my experience, I have not even had one project. I'm still counting. I mean, maybe you have one, or anyone in the audience, you know, ever experienced that, and I would be so excited to learn about that. I have not had one project where the data was usable after the first, you know, upload, or having the first look at it. Whenever you do that, you check and you see, oh, that value is not as expected. There's a gap. We don't have any answers from our target group. Yeah, or there's so many reasons. And but the other hand, the danger is you have everything set up, you have a nice report prepared, you have data in there, and you feel this urge to share it with the world because it's so exciting and it's new. And if you are too fast and don't do your diligent checks, like from the bottom of the organization or from those who know, so maybe with the salespeople who know what more or less the target group is, yeah, do a cross check, or with the operators who know how the machine operated in the last day and these things, then you will present a result that doesn't make any sense and you will lose trust. And trust, as presented before, number 3, is our core currency for the change.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we win that. And that's why, when you're almost there, calm down, don't show it, hide it, come bottom up, make sure that everything is within your followers. Yeah, whoever said it's accurate goes, and then you go with a big team, or I don't know, 20 people, you go to the steerco and say, hey, this is it. Yeah, and if then there's a small error in it, they will all support you and say, yeah, okay, I didn't see that either. That's fine. Yeah, so, and that's my 5 key learnings. I think if you use those, you should be in a good shape.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good overview of, I think, quite a lot of pitfalls that I'm sure that a lot of the audience can actually identify, at least one, if not several. We've actually got a question in from the audience already, which is great. There is open QA, so if anybody listening has a question that they want to send in, please do so. The box is down below. The question we have at the moment is, what are the main reasons why innovative projects fail? Even if they are disruptive and provide customers with new solutions, how can we overcome the skepticism when we are trying to be pioneers?
Mm-hmm. It's an excellent question, and it goes to my next slide, kind of. Was it anyone from my team sending it?
It's anonymous, so I don't know.
No, I don't think so. No, so I think the main point here, yeah, is again the change management, because and we have to see it from the risk side. Like, let's go back to my super excellent plant manager who has an operation running well, very well. He's got it all clustered the way he knows how to do it. Yeah.
All under control.
Now,
He's got it all under control.
He's got all under control. He's fine. He gets good reviews. His life is good. Yeah. And now someone comes with a disruptive and new idea. And there's, of course, a possible benefit for him. So maybe he can become even more successful. But there's also a threat in there. Maybe he implements that, in my case, I do Industry 4.0. Maybe he implements that algorithm, that will tell him when to stop his machine. And maybe that algorithm is not good and stops it all the time, and his productivity will go down. So he's got a possible benefit and a very, very close by and likely threat. Yeah. And if you want to get him along, you have to start very early in the process. Yeah. So how do we do that? Yeah. And I know that this taking people along and change management, and it always sounds like this fairy tale thing, with pink clouds and everything happy, but it's really just hard work and process. So how we do that is very early in the process, we do the standard things that everyone does. So we check what's the strategy. We involve IT in the first moment. That's maybe a bit different. We define the project, draft project plan, overall goals, align it with the C-level. That's the standard. And then there's 3 items here: the team up, the think through, and the execute. And for me, the magic lies in the order of team up and think through. I also have that the tendency to say, okay, now I know what we need to do. Now I quickly do it like one level more in detail, and I will tell everyone what to do, and we can get started very fast. The issue is that your team will likely, not the issue, the beauty is that your team will consist of really experienced and sharp and thinking people. And if me as a project manager tell someone who maybe works at this machine what I think you should do, I get pushback right away, because I said, okay, I'm the expert. I have never seen you in with something, doing something on that machine. Why do you tell me that? So I immediately get pushback. So that's why the team up phase needs to be first. So what do I have to do? I have to show real respect and trust in the people I work with, because they deserve it anyway. And I do a lot of talking. I explain everyone that I will need in this project as a stakeholder, not necessarily project manager or executive. What am I planning? What do I think about it? What do you think about it? Adjust my plan. This can take quite a lot of time. Then I bring the real team together, and together we develop how this can be done. So my plant manager would be part of all these steps. And he would tell me in phase 1, okay, we can do that, but I'm worried that you do it in process step 3. Can we do it in the last process step? Then I can easily stop it. Fine, no problem. But this way we are all on the same boat. Everyone can bring his worries in very early. And if you go execute with this team who developed the plan on their own, who is also absolutely committed that this can work, or at least with some adjustments, but overall they're in and they know that I will also listen when they give me a stop, then you will get the disruptive things over.
So a big...
it sounds like a fairy tale with all this. Right?
Yeah. So, a really big part of it is around the people, from what you're saying. We've got another question in from Narlin. He says, hello, I'm from India, and I believe that brand owners are not much aware about connected packaging. And if they are aware, they're not ready to kickstart or know how. So maybe there's a way that you could, what's kind of your 2 or 3 top tips for Narlin, who seems like he's quite far away from kicking off a project? How can he get ready? What are the 3 top tips you'd give him?
So if I understood it right, he would like to start such a project and he doesn't know how to get going.
Well, where he is, they're not aware enough and they're not really ready. So, for awareness, don't worry, Narlin, we've got you sorted for the whole summit. So stay tuned. But if they want to get kick-started, what's the 3 things he needs to think about?
So the first thing, if you want to get started, something that, of course, I mean, I'm sure he did his research and he knows what this topic is all about and what in theory he would need to do. I mean, that's the homework that we always have to do. Yeah, be prepared, know what your business, and worst case, you know, he will just call you and then get an update in a few minutes. But then what needs to be done is stakeholder management. So he has to, you know, have a look at the org chart of his organization and think through for whom in his organization would this be a benefit, who would be interested in, and who's also friendly. Yeah, so he needs to find the friendliest, most open person in his organization and just go in there like very open and say, you know what, I heard something new. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but I wondered what you think about it. Yeah, and that way start a conversation. So I think, I mean, just to give the opposite, if you go there and say, you know what, I have to do, you need to change your work, then it's a clear no without listening. But just open the conversation very carefully, and then ideally you win this person and say, yeah, that's exciting, maybe we could bring it, and then you move along the organization and loop in step by step everyone who is an important stakeholder for this project. And once you have enough support, and maybe you have 2 or 3, I mean, I don't know exactly who you need for the project. I would assume you need IT, you need sales or the marketing team, and maybe someone from product management. You go through. If you have two of the 3 stakeholders in your favor, you go big and then you start.
So again, it's back to people. So getting people interested and motivated and excited about the project, I think, Nalin, is the way forward. And then in terms of awareness, well, we can tool you up with all the stats and all the info you need. So stay tuned. Wiebke, you mentioned a little bit about data, and that was a really interesting point, I think. So people who have actually gone through the process, but then end up with some data and haven't really thought about the data, and then it doesn't become so useful. Tell us a little bit around that.
And I also have a little overview prepared. So the thing about data that you receive, especially after collecting data from external, as you would do it here, is there's kind of 4 levels of data cleansing, as it's often called, that you have to do. And the initial ones are obvious. We have them on our list. I mean, if there's duplicates or if there's empty records coming back or something from any spam addresses, so on, we have to clean them out, and IT can do that. They're really good at it. The second is a little more the content. That's where you would already filter out if maybe there's, maybe you have a product manager who really wants to push into one direction and asks all his friends to give you a wrong answer. So there you would check, does the content make sense, or do we have a really strong deviation from something that is useful? This operations can do. They know what should come back more or less. They just don't know the detail. That's why you do the collection. The third one is context. That's also, that's for example, if you maybe did a couple of these requests and you have one data sample in between that is giving you completely different answers than before. And this could be, for example, if you did this research once the Corona crisis started, where everyone had his mind in a completely different area. So if you wanted to do a long analysis, you would take this data sample out, because you would say, okay, there was a crisis for everyone. If I put that into my long-term report, it will not help me. It helped me in that situation to understand special requirements, but not for overall. And in operations, you would say, if you ramp up a machine or ramp down a machine, that doesn't give you any predictive maintenance input. That gives you, it is correct, but it doesn't make sense in this content. But the thing that is the most important one, I think, if you do research with customers, is the one of bias in the data. And that means if you, for example, do a little poll, maybe for someone who sells drinks or whatever, and you ask how much do you like it, then you will maybe find out that people in Germany don't like it at all, and people in the US and India like it a lot. And you will maybe wonder, like, okay, maybe I should just stop operations in Germany because Germany is criticizing me all the time, and I will go for India and US. But after a year or so, you will find out that that was not a good idea because the Germans were actually buying the product. Yeah, and the reason is, for example, in this case, cultural bias. That me as a German, I'm always going to what? Oh, there's always room for improvement. We can do better. I will give it a 3. It's okay. It's drinkable. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not. It's fine. And in India, for example, they would likely say, "It's amazing. I really like it." Yeah. When they have in the end the same emotion behind it. I went once to a just to give you another example of this, to a restaurant in India, and they had feedback cards on the tables, and you had various options to answer. And the first one was like, "I adore this place. If I could, I would buy a part of it. This is the best restaurant in the world." The second was, "This is a really nice restaurant. I like the service. Go ahead." Yeah. And the last one was, "This is really good." Yeah, and I was like, okay, where's the other side? Where can I mark that this is quite okay, but not perfect? Yeah, yeah, because people would, answer more carefully. And if you set up an analysis for maybe getting an international response back, you need to calculate in that bias. You need to put the averages. You would rate Germany, say like, okay, Germany 3 would equal a 2 in India, maybe, if you want to compare that. And that you need to think through, and that's a business task. The business task to think through, what do I expect? How are the cultures different? But it can also be gender or age group or area, or your customers or the consumers more or less. And you really have to think through, what is a good in this market, or what can I ask in this market? I mean, for example, people would also, from a cultural perspective, maybe just lie to you. Yeah, do you have kids? Yes, in Indonesia, for example. Yeah, because it would be super annoying to say that they don't have kids, or and then when you analyze it, it will tell you something. And the other piece is, I don't know if you know these T-shirts. People, like you can see that it's a nerd if he wears a T-shirt that says, "Some people can work with incomplete data." Full stop, nothing else. Yeah. Okay, because the other half is missing. I don't have such a T-shirt, but I will buy one maybe one day. And that's the other, threat is a big word, but if you do such a connected packaging event, or not event, a campaign, and you get your answers back, you need to cross-check, like, what part of my consumer group is actually answering this. Yeah. So you then know, okay, now I gained a lot of super valuable insight about the females between 30 and 40, because they would all answer this. But to make a decision for your strategy, you have to be aware that you did not win answers about, say, the females between 50 and 70 who just, didn't care to answer. Maybe they were too busy, or maybe they didn't want to, or whatever it is. And also not about the males and the kids, because the kids didn't have a phone yet. So you have to think through, like, what information is there and what information is missing, so you don't over or underestimate the value of your answer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that comes to planning, doesn't it? What is it that we want to find out? Who is it that we're talking to? And then the great thing around, you mentioned it, is, the connected packaging can be used as a market research tool. So, what is it that you want to find out, and from whom? So kind of that planning. But the cultural bias, I mean, that's, it's there, but it's being able to identify that before you start making decisions. I think that's a really important point as well, that of course it's there, but have you actually built that into the way that you're going to then analyze the data? We're coming to the end of the session, and I know there's lots of things that you want to tell us, so I don't know whether there's an overview of the most important points that people who are watching this session should take away.
So it's actually one thing, and whatever we were talking about, Jenny, we always came back to this one. It is called a data or digital analytics project, whatever the name is, and that sometimes scares people away a little bit. But in fact, these projects are people projects, because no matter how good your analytics are, the people will decide if it will have an impact or not, because they will value for themselves, they can push back, or they will, find ways to explain why it's wrong or whatever. So if you do such a project, you need to be very careful to at least balance your analytics and the personal side. And if you have to decide, go for the personal side. That's really my advice. If you have to decide, do I now do this conversation with my important stakeholder, or do I calculate it once more? Talk to the stakeholder. You will always be able to redo a little calculation in the evening. But if that bound, that relationship to your stakeholder is not very good, or gets I'm missing the word right now. Gets bad. I'm sorry for my English in this moment. It will take you months or years to bring it back into shape. And this will really be your problem. So make sure that you really focus on people. Remember, it's a change management project with an analytical piece that can be handled by experts. They are there. They're really good. They will take care of it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Some really, really good insights there. Some great points, I think, that we can all think about when planning our projects. And for those people who haven't started, there's obviously lots of great insight there. Thank you so much, Wiebke. It's been great to listen to that. Thank you for opening the summit. It's been some, as I said, some really interesting elements there that we can all take away from it. I hope everyone at home and at the office, wherever they are, enjoyed that. Thanks so much for the questions.